Good afternoon, Chris Coffee here. Today I'm going to show you how to remove the panels and the shell off an S1 Vivaldi 2. I'm going to remove the drip tray, set it aside. You have two thumb screws on either side of the drip tray. We're going to remove those. To remove the top panel, there's a Phillips screw in the center front. This will just fall out, but I have the tool to pick it up, so I'm going to pick it up, pull it out, and I'm going to set it aside. From the stage here, we need to move to the bottom of the machine. There are 6 screws on the bottom of the machine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They all need to be loosened. Once they're loosened, you have 8 screws on the top of the machine. The 2 middle ones need to be loosened. Once you have those loosened, you can grab the panel from the bottom towards the back. There is a plastic pin here with ruffles on it that catches in a hole, so you got to give it a little jerk. Here's the ruffle pin, and the side panel comes off. So we set this panel aside, and the same is true with the other side. Now we remove these top 2 screws on the back panel. Set the back panel aside. Now, for most of your maintenance, this is as far as you need to go. Your brain box is here, your pump is in here, your coffee boiler, your steam boiler. Change the element on the steam boiler, you'd have to remove the boiler lid. The coffee boiler element comes out the back. However, if you need to do work on the front of the group, your group solenoid, your steam valve, your hot water valve, well, now we need to take the front of the machine apart. 2 screws on the front panel here. Now, if you need to get the top panel off so that you can access the group, you have the 2 remaining screws on the top that need to be loosened up, but before we do that, we need to address the steam wand. And what we're going to do is we're going to separate this union here. believe the small one's a 14. And the larger one is a 17 millimeter. Once I have it loose, unscrew the fitting, and you'll find that the tube still will not come off because it has this compression fitting here. And the way to separate that is you're going to take a pair of pliers and you're going to grab the brass fitting right next to the thread and gently rotate it back and forth, and it will separate. On this stage here, you should have enough slack in the wiring where this can be lifted up and moved out of the way, which will access your group solenoid, your hot water solenoid, your expansion valve, all accessible from the front of the machine. Hello folks, Chris Coffee here again. We're going to show you how to reattach the side panels to your S1 Vivaldi 2. Now there are several different editions. They're all very similar. There's a couple noticeable differences on how to attach the side panels. The older models had 3 thumb screws that look like this. 2 of them are located inside and 1 here. And if you look here, this panel still has the PEM to screw those thumb screws in, even though that they no longer use them. So the easiest way to get this panel on is you line it up with the screws underneath, slide it in, kind of get it in position, and then you're going to use a rag and you're going to tip the machine onto the panel that you're putting on. Being careful not to tip my table. Now with it here, if you look on the back here, you can see how I did not line up in my notches. So now I can manipulate this and use the weight of the machine to hold it in position. Just dropped into position. Now I will put the thumb screw back in. Not quite lined up. I will finish tightening it down later. I will make sure that I'm sitting in the groove here. In the groove, the sides and the back. Now, if I had the 2 thumb screws that go in up here and here, I would put them in this position. This way, if I drop the thumb screw, it stays right where I drop it and doesn't end up in the bottom of the machine. And the other one is back here. So now that I have things mostly lined up, I will tip the machine back upright. Sometimes it needs to be hit right about here for that little ruffle pin to grab in the hole. So you just give it a blow with the palm of your hand such as that. And you loosen these screws up a little and put the closeout panel in. And the other side is done exactly the same way. That was good. Now that everything's lined up, tighten down your screws here and here. And lastly, tighten this one on the top. Make sure that you stayed into your groove in the side panel before you tighten that one down. And there you go.